Morning, YouTube. Well, today I'm in Seneca Falls, New York, and the site of the first women's rights convention in 1848. So let's check it out. So what was it like to be a woman in 1848? Well, women's rights did vary throughout the country, but for the most part, when a woman got married, her husband, she got support, protection, but she lost their rights to their own property. Husbands gained the right to beat their wives with a whip no thicker than a thumb, rule of thumb, and they had no legal claim even to their own children. So in Seneca Falls, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Coffin Mott probably knew each other, but they really met at the 1840 World Anti-Slavery Convention in England, in London, and they there the men voted that the women should be relegated to the back of the room, and that really set them off thinking about how they were treated as second-class citizens. So, well, the women's rights movement had a large connection to the Underground Railroad that ran as a right word through this area. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and her husband were strong anti-slavery proponents, and a lot of the rhetoric used to promote the first women's rights convention has ties with the anti-slavery movement. Yeah. So when you think of women's rights, you don't really think like fashion, but when you're made to feel ashamed of your body by its natural shape, and you need to conform to the ideal, you end up with atrocities like this, where cinched in waist and the bustle on the back of the dress to make your booty look bigger. I mean, it leads to, if you look up here, everything's constricted in, nothing's going to work. This is natural, much better. You start, these corsets to give women a wasp waist are just ridiculous. And what was considered women's work back then is cleaning, washing. Out west, maybe expanded a little bit to husbandry, but anyway. Inequality even extends to toys. I mean, we all know there's the pink aisle, with all the kitchens and the fashions and all that, and then there's the boys aisle that's got the army stuff and the trucks and the cool trains and engineering things. Like, why? I mean, think of it. It even extends to movies. Star Wars and Rey, and they came up with action figures for everybody but her. Again, it makes no sense. You have strong female leads, strong female role models, and the toy industry lags behind by 50 years or 100 years. So this is a live casting of Handshake between Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, and they met in 1851 and basically led the women's rights movement for the next 50 years. So this is the Wesleyan Chapel where the convention was held. Let's take a look inside. So this is the chapel where the original 1848 Women's Rights Convention was held. After that, there was no thought to make any kind of historical preservation, so it went through all kinds of things. At one point, there was a laundromat built in front of it, connected to it. It was a car dealership, all kinds of different things. But when the Park Service took over in 1980, they were tasked with preserving it. They had it as an open pavilion, but that didn't really work with the traffic, like the truck going by and all that. So they tried to come up with ways to preserve it. Looking up, this is the original beams to the roof up here, although I think these beams across may be replacements, but that original rafters up there. You can see with a brick, maybe better over here, you can see with a brick, this is the original brick. And this is modern brick, as close as they could get, not very close, but, and there's spots along here where there's the original plaster still on the wall. When they took it over, there was a thick coat of stucco on the outside. They picked that off and restored it basically by putting the new end on there, new back wall. They can use the back wall for presentations. And, but anyway, this is the site. This is where it all took place. And it was a Wesleyan Methodist church. Wesleyan Methodists are split off from the main Methodist church. So that's a whole other history lesson. To get an idea of what this looked like, at one point, this is what it looked like when they took over. Basically, this is the chapel back here. Windows are gone. Laundromat in front of it, it's gone now. And then they made it into like an open pavilion. This park was started in 1980, so this is what it looked like in 93, but the traffic noise was a problem, and better preservation of it is they did it this way. This plaque was originally on the outside of the building, and it was put on here in 1908 to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the first Women's Rights Convention. Harriet Stanton Blanche was here with her sister to commemorate it. So. And at that time, votes for women, still 20 or 12 years off, didn't happen until 78 years after the convention. So next to the museum, between the displays and the chapel, they actually have the Declaration of Sentiments put on this wall. And there's 15 points that actually became debated hotly in the political arena in the following years. Well, that ends my visit to the Women's Rights National Historic Place, and it's a free tour if you're coming through Seneca Falls, or make the trip. It's worth it. And so we've seen some of these exhibits upstairs. We've seen the chapel where the first convention actually took place, and these are some of the representation of some of the people that either attended or supported. So anyway, I'll see you later, YouTube. We'll get back down the road.